Hey guys, welcome back for another video. So big shout out to Grow Ace because they've given me a lot of my personal time back, guys, and if it wasn't for that company, I wouldn't have been able to get a lot of things done over the holidays. I wouldn't have been able to get my basement painted and reorganized. Man, I'm happy, and it's all because of that automated system. I mean, all I've been doing is keeping up with the reservoir. Every couple of weeks I change it out, redo the nutrients, everything stays stable, guys. I mean, I just monitor it, daily, every other day, and life couldn't be any simpler. So with that said, use my discount code if you're interested in shopping for one. Guys, we're going to get into, I'm going to show you how I adjusted my nutrients here. I changed the system out, and then, we're going to go over some defoliating tips, and then I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to do a final tie down, and we're going to get the light cycle switched to 12-12. We're going to flower, guys. The plants are getting big enough. I got a limited edition here, Body Count by Brothers Grimm. Big shout out to them because their plants rock. We're going to be running them outdoors. I got a big plant over in the 4x4 that's going to be 15 months old before it's done with flower. So she's going out there where Space Queen was. We're going to run about 4 or 5 other strains with her. I'll be doing a little bud tending for some people. And, we're going to be running a lot of plants this spring, so stay tuned for that. It's going to get freaking exciting. We got some big plants coming, guys. I saved some really good genetics for this time outdoors. So let's get into the training and the res change. Stay with me, guys. Check this out. All right, guys, so here's the correct mixing order here, and I'm using 30 gallons of RO water. My RO system will strip all my micronutrients out, so it's important to add your calcium magnesium back into your water if you're using an RO system. I have a lot of luck and a lot of success using a RO system. I've tried the city water and it just doesn't work for me, guys, but we got 90 cc of calcium magnesium, and just so you know, milliliters and cc are the exact same measurement. I remember that from when we had kids, giving them medicine and whatnot. You learn that. So, and we got 90 milliliters of micro here. We got 60 milliliters of the Grow, and we have 30 milliliters of the Bloom. Let's get this mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and start with the exact mixing order I showed you before. A couple of things I find important: pour slowly and mix thoroughly, and let it sit so everything can dissolve. Another thing, keep your tank clean, man. I mean, because every 2 weeks when I empty this system out, I take the poles out, wipe them down, spray this out with a jet hose, and really wash it down with a rag, and then drain it again. I get it as clean as possible every 2 weeks. You'll have more time because the system allows for that. So, I mean, I can't stress enough on keeping things sterile. I mean, I'm not running the most sterile system here, but I do keep it extra clean. And I think that's why I'm having the most successful run I've ever had in this system, and my plants are extremely healthy, guys. I mean, truthfully, everything's adding up. It's all coming together, and I'm really enjoying everything about this grow. Can't wait to see what these buds do. Now, guys, I want to mention one other fact is, we're 2 weeks before these plants get done with stretching. So during this 2 weeks, they're going to need a lot of vegetative growth and, nitrogen. So I'm keeping my nutrient mix the exact same as before. And then next week, we'll bump up our bloom here and we'll reduce our nitrogen. This way we'll get a good stretch and the plants will get all of the nitrogen they need so they can get that stretch. I hope that makes sense. So after mixing everything in, pH is around 6.4. I'll be bringing that down to try to hit 5.8. My target on the EC is 1.1. I'm loving General Hydroponics, guys, and I'm a little behind on my dry erase board, but I tell you, this board really helps me stay on track. And now, guys, after getting the pH down mixed in here, I got it down to 5.9. I'm real happy with that. My EC's still right where I want it to be. It's been 30 minutes, so I think we're golden. We're going to get into some training, guys. I'll show you a little bit about defoliating and how I'm going to tie these plants down to get them ready for flower and stretch. All right, guys, so we're going to be using some rubber coated wire tie and maybe even some LST clips. Now, I used these LST clips on my outdoor grow, and I can confidently say they lasted all summer under extreme heat, under extreme UV rays. So I print these with PETG. And guys, it's just UV resistant. It's got a lot of flexibility to it. They're very strong. And you know, I had a lot of success with these and I really like them. So I'll drop a link in the description for these. Let's get on with the training, guys. All right, guys, so I'm really big on screen of green. You know, that's what I do. I do a lot of scrog method style grows. So, you know, getting a lot of tops early in the plant's life is very important to me, you know, so I can fill out my net in my grow tent. I feel like I was a little misleading on my last video when I said that you could get, you know, your tops to double every time. So that's partially true with the first and second topping, you know, but by the time you get into your third topping, you know, the plant's got to send auxins, you know, hormones through its vascular system. It's got to send hormones. It's got to send nutrients to all these different sites. And it's very hard to do, you know, to distribute all of that to each of these sites, you know, evenly. So you're going to have tops that are smaller, some tops that are bigger. But, you know, ultimately to me, doing a scrog method, that's okay because, you know, that was going to be larf anyways. So it's going to help, you know, kind of get those buds to be a little denser and get them up closer to the light. You know, I collect a lot of top colas when I do a scrog method. You know, that's the main goal of it, you know. So I just wanted to clarify myself on my last video. I hope that helps, guys. It wasn't my first mistake and it won't be my last, but you know, if I make a mistake like that, I'll get on here and correct myself right away. All right, guys, look, check this out. So like most of the shade leaves around the outside perimeter of the plant, you know, you can just usually get away with removing this inside one right here. You see it's got them on both sides. Usually just this inside one is the one covering things up, you know, so that's just a quick tip on defoliating. Now you don't want to take off much more than, you know, 15 to 20% at a time. You just don't want to stunt the plant's growth. You don't want to stress it out too much. It's going to take vegging a lot longer. So be careful with how much you do remove, guys. But, you know, on the inside part of the plant right here, you know, you might have to, you know, determine which one's better to remove, if not both, you know. And then a lot of times down here in the center of the plant, like these smaller little sites, they're just never going to get anywhere. They're sucker leaves, basically. You might want to, you know, remove some of them because, you know, they're just never going to catch up, guys. And it's just going to help with the overall structure of this main top that you're paying attention to, you know, or want to do something with. You know, it's going to help boost the growth inside it. So, you know, them are my, you know, defoliating tips. And then we're going to get into some wire tying. We're going to tie this down. And it's just going to help, you know, produce some, you know, better growth. And then, like I said, you know, some of these lower sites in here, the ones that aren't so low, like this one here, you know, tying it down is going to help this one catch up. You know, some of these you just can't do much with, but let's get on with tying it down. I'll finish defoliating this one, and then I'll show you guys all 6 of them. We'll get them into flower tonight.